Here I am, Brandon Walker, more Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast, presented by SEC Country. I'm here on a ties day here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I'm wearing my tie. Terp's got his tie on. Patrick over there's got his tie. Landshark is back in the building, unfortunately. Back from Napa, the wine tasting country in California. Is that right? Wine country? So we are here on a Tuesday. We're going to talk about Mississippi State sports. One SEC Network analyst, very high on Mississippi State. We'll talk about that. Recruiting, got some news in recruiting. Had Joe Moorhead on the show yesterday. It was fantastic. Fantastic. Joe Moorhead said more in 9.5 minutes than most coaches say in a half hour. He was great. He answered every question I had. Wait a minute. Why do you have the microphone? Landshark, why do you have the microphone?
Terp's on strike.
Terp's on strike. Terp's mad at me because I'm making him do the comments.
I think so.
Guys, Terp's in the comments today. He's keeping the comments rolling, so you can make fun of Maryland or whatever you'd like. You can make fun of Terp, just whatever you want to do. So I've got Landshark on the mic today. You know what? I've always wanted you on the mic, so this is good. This is good. How was California? What?
Here I am.
Here you are. Yeah.
Napa was amazing.
The question was, how was California?
Amazing.
And your answer was, here I am. Boy, you must have graduated in 4 years at Ole Miss.
I did.
All right. So let's see who we got here today. Paula Smallwood Dobbs is here. Can't wait for Super Bulldog weekend. Russell Berry's here from Franklin, Virginia. Grace Thacker Good checking in this morning from Greenwood, I believe. Martin Smith says Maryland's too sad to make fun of. All right, Terp, get him. Need to say, let's ring the bell when starting the podcast. Ray Leno, you've been on that for a couple of days, haven't you? If I can ever remember to do it, I will remember not to say, are you ready? I'll get rid of that. Hail State from Hazelhurst. Jay Stubbs says, where are you at, Lisa? All right, we need to talk about something. As you can see, this is classy Brandon today. This isn't ghetto Brandon. This isn't Point City Brandon. This is classy Brandon with his tie on. So I'm going to be classy. That's what I am. So on Facebook, Landshark, I want you to look at me. On Facebook, there's this group, this Mississippi State group, that they all talk to each other about Mississippi State sports. And one lady went on there yesterday and says, "Hey, does anybody listen to Brandon Walker on SEC Country? I can't stand to listen to him."
Ouch.
Ouch, right? Ouch. What'd I do? I'm Brandon Walker. I'm lovable. I'm the best podcast out there. You know what? But I'm not gonna, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to say her name. I'm not going to say Lisa Massey's name. I'm not going to call her out. I will not do that. I'm above that. I am above that. I would never call out Lisa Massey for doing something like that. That's not who I am. Who doesn't like Brandon Walker? And of course, she was bombarded and deluged with a ton of people. With a ton of people saying, yeah, we like Brandon Walker. We like Brandon Walker just fine. Brandon Walker's fantastic. Okay, that was mine. I said that. But people agreed. People liked it. There were emojis. You know it's serious when emojis come out. All right, guys. So I'm not going to go very deep into it. But there was okay, yeah, all right, hold on. And then she said, or maybe it was her or another woman. They said they stopped watching my show the day I yelled at my wife on TV. The day I was doing a Facebook Live from my house, and I yelled at my wife and kids. I've never yelled at my wife and kids. You think my wife would allow me to yell at her on camera? My wife runs this show. She's standing right off screen right now, yelling at me, looking at me. How are things, Landshark? You okay?
Things are great.
Good. You bring nothing to the show. You've brought absolutely nothing to the show so far. I have no idea why you've got the microphone. Terp, at least when he talks, brings something to the show. Are you going to bring anything to the show?
I'm really trying. You would never yell at your wife and kids.
I would never yell at my wife and kids on camera.
I mean, you don't yell at us at all, ever.
Ever?
Never.
No, I really don't.
Yeah, never.
When have I ever yelled at you?
I'm just joking. You have not. Hey, I helped you button your shirt today. You look great.
Hey, just all right. They don't need to know everything. When I woke up this morning, my wife had taken my kids to the dentist. And I didn't know, I can't button my neck button by itself, so I had to bring it here and get you to button it. Anyway, it's not important. It's not important. D. Curtis says he knows he married up. I've said that many times. Many times. I mean, look at me. Not an attractive man. Terrible to look at. Don't smell all that good. Don't make all that much money. But my wife is smoking hot. That's how I'm living my life. Where's the suspenders to go with that outfit? Says Jared Mansour. Terp asked me for a table when I got here today. I'm wearing, this is Ties Day, all right? I'm wearing a Mississippi State tie. It looks good. I'm excited about my tie. Got it from Maroon & Company. Maroon & Company, where I also got this bell. Check out Maroon & Company, at Maroon & Co. on Twitter, maroonandcompany.com. Maroonandco.com, excuse me. So we are going to talk about Marcus Spears, the LSU guy, the SEC network analyst who basically gave Mississippi State a lot of credit, thinks Mississippi State's going to challenge Alabama in the West, and he is absolutely right. We are also going to talk about recruiting a little bit. Joe Moorhead was on the show yesterday. He said some things I liked. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the spring game coming up this weekend. Who am I excited to see? Who are you excited to see? We'll definitely get into that. I got 5 topics today. I usually only have 4. What else are we talking about? We're talking about Spears. We're talking about who to watch for in the spring game. Talking about recruiting. We're talking about, the big freeze. SEC says people can't hire Hugh Freeze, and for some reason they tried to hire him anyway. So we'll get into that. And 2-minute drill at the end of the show. We'll do all of that. Patrick, are you prepared to start the show? Why are you counting? Why? Just play the music, Patrick.
It's the More Cowbell Show, brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
That's me, Brandon Walker. More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast here on SECCountry.com. SEC Country, whatever, I don't care. That's where we are. We're in the SEC Country studios here in Atlanta, Georgia on a beautiful Tuesday. It's actually nice outside today. The weather has been weird. I know it's been weird where you are in Mississippi. It's been weird in Alabama. It's been weird in Georgia. But today the weather seems like it's on the come up. It looks like it's getting better outside, so we're going to celebrate that. I got the Shrekking crew on the other side of the glass. I've got Patrick over there doing nothing. I got Terp sulking and got his butt on his shoulders because he's doing the comments today. He's very unhappy. And I got Landshark on the mic for the first time ever. Landshark, say hi to the people.
Hey, people.
That's awful. Don't ever talk on this show again. That is the worst. Terp, I miss you, man. Terp, are we going to be okay, buddy? Do we need to hug it out? Why are you wearing your headphones like that? Anyway, doesn't matter. They look like dangly earrings like you're on the Titanic or something. Anyway, today we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? Marcus Spears, the SEC network analyst, former LSU player, former NFL player. He was asked by SEC Country, hey, who's going to challenge Alabama in the SEC West this year? Was he lazy? Did he say Auburn because that's the gut reaction from every media analyst? Did he say LSU because that's where he played? No. He said the right answer. He said Mississippi State. We'll talk about that on this show. We'll also talk about recruiting. Joe Moorhead said some good things yesterday, said some good things on this very show, and I'm very excited about it. And the spring game is this weekend. The spring game for Mississippi State. They're looking to break the record. There is excitement here that hasn't been here in quite a while. We'll talk about that. Hugh Freeze tried to get a job in the SEC. The SEC said no, good for them. We'll talk about that just a little bit at the end of the show. And then 2-minute drill. Again, let me tell you where I got this beautiful tie that I'm wearing. If you're on your podcast, if you're listening on the podcast, please don't look at your radio. You will not see this tie, but you can see it on the Facebook Live. I got it at Maroon & Co. Maroon & Company, maroonandco.com, at Maroon & Co. on Twitter. Look at that. Look at that zoom right there. That's good looking right there. That's a good looking tie. I got this junction bell there. Check it out at Maroon & Co. on Twitter. Highway 12 behind Chick-fil-A in Starkville. Chick-fil-A gets a lot of free advertising on the show. Anyway, My name is Brandon Walker. You're listening to more Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast on SEC Country. Yesterday was a big day for us. Yesterday was a huge day. We had Joe Moorhead on the show. He talked for about 10 minutes about everything, about recruiting, about the 2018 season. If you haven't heard that, if you haven't listened to that, if you're just showing up today and you're like, hey, you talked to Moorhead, you need to go back and listen to yesterday's podcast or go back and watch on Facebook. You can go back and watch the video from yesterday. It was fantastic. Now, today, Marcus Spears was asked by SEC Country, hey, who's going to challenge Alabama in the SEC West? Because we have long realized, we've all long thought, and it's been that way for 10 years, Alabama owns the SEC West. They run the SEC West. Even though they didn't technically win it last year, they still run the SEC West until further notice. So Alabama is probably going to be picked number one in the SEC West and the entire SEC this year, just as they are every year. But Marcus Spears was asked, hey, who's going to challenge Alabama in the West? Who's the second best team in the SEC West, and maybe even in the entire SEC? And instead of saying Auburn, instead of saying LSU, Marcus Spears said it's Mississippi State. With all the experience they have, with Nick Fitzgerald coming back, if you look at their team, they're very, very good. And listen, this is a team that beat LSU by 30 last year. It's a team that should have finished 9-3. And Marcus Spears believes that it's not Auburn, it's not LSU, it's Mississippi State that is going to be the second team to hear from in the SEC West. And you know what? He's absolutely right. And it's refreshing to hear somebody in his position. It's refreshing to hear a former LSU player. It's refreshing to hear an SEC Network analyst look at it and tell you what's actually going to happen. Because on paper, Mississippi State is the second best team in the SEC. Now, when we show up to media days in Atlanta in a couple of months, we show up to media days and the entire SEC media will vote, and Auburn will be voted second in the SEC West. That's how it will happen. LSU might even be voted third. I think State will be voted third, but LSU might get that spot. But when I vote, I think Mississippi State's the second best team in the SEC for 2018. And I don't think that's a homer pick. And it is contingent on Joe Moorhead and staff being able to coach. I feel like he is a good coach. I feel like the staff can coach, and that is an important ingredient here. However, if you look at Mississippi State, how do you win in the SEC? Well, you got to have a good front seven. You got to be good on the defensive line. You got to stop the run. You got to get after the passer. You have to be good up front defensively. Mississippi State's as good as anybody in this conference. And I'm not saying they're as good as anybody but Alabama or they're as good as anybody but Georgia. No. State in 2018 with Jeffrey Simmons and Montez Sweat and Chauncey Rivers is as good as anybody in this conference. Auburn is getting all this press for their defensive line coming back. Their defensive line is not as good as Mississippi State's. Statistically or on paper. It is not. That's the same thing, isn't it? Statistically or in real life. It's just not. Jeffrey Simmons, probably the best defensive player returning the SEC, is in the middle for Mississippi State. Montez Sweat led the league in sacks last year. Nobody has that good of a combination. Nobody else has a defensive tackle that good with a defensive end that explosive. Nobody has that. Now, Chauncey Rivers, we don't know what he'll bring to the table, but if he brings half of what Montez Sweat brought to the table, look the hell out. State is the real deal on defense. That's not even talking about fifth-year senior Nick Fitzgerald. That's not talking about Eris Williams, who ran for 1,200 yards last year. That's not talking about Kylan Hill, who could be just as good. That's not talking about the offensive line, which was one of the top three lines in the SEC last year, returns 4 starters. That's not talking about any of that. Front seven, quarterback, everything is in place for Mississippi State for 2018. It is contingent on Fitzgerald being healthy and Joe Moorhead and staff being the coaches we believe that they are. Marcus Spears nailed it. He can see it. Listen, Auburn was good last year. Auburn was good. But they don't have a running back coming back. They don't have any receivers coming back. They don't have a very good offensive line coming back. Mississippi State answers every single question. They check every box when it comes to being a very good SEC team in 2018. And the reason I'm talking about this today is I've been saying it for a while. I know Bulldog Sports Radio has been saying it for a while. Steve Robertson's been saying it for a while. You guys have been inundated with this, and it is true. And now some national media members are finally cluing in that Mississippi State is going to be very good in 2018. Spring game coming up this Saturday. I'll be there. I'll be in Starkville. Hopefully I'll get there on Friday. By the way, if you want me in your left field lounge or your lounge on Friday night, please hit me up because I don't have a ticket yet. I'd like to come. So what am I excited for this spring? First of all, I love the way we're treating this. This is Mullen was here 9 years, and this is to say nothing about Mullen because I think he did a very good job here. But after 9 years, it's hard to maintain excitement year after year after year. So this is kind of a jolt for Mississippi State's fan base. This is a dose of excitement we haven't had lately. And the first year under Moorhead, trying to see if Fitzgerald is healthy, got a couple of players we want to see for the first time. There's a lot of reasons to be excited for this spring game. Moorhead has been out there beating the bushes. He's trying to get the record broken. I don't even know what the record is, 35,000 maybe? I don't know what the record is. But hopefully there are as many people as possible in Starkville and at that game this Saturday. What am I watching for? What am I looking for? I got a list. I got a list of who that I would like to watch for this weekend. Number one, I'm watching play calling. I want to know what the offense is going to look like. I've seen the same play calling and the same offense and the same quarterback dive on 3rd and 2 for 9 years. It was effective. It worked, but I was tired of it. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to get more creative offensively. I'm ready to look more unique offensively. I'm ready to change looks up front. And we are doing that behind the scenes right now. They're implementing their offense. What will we see from this offense on Saturday? What will the play calling look like? Will they unveil this new creative offense to us? I assume they'll do a couple of trick plays, try to keep the imagination going. I assume they'll do a little bit of everything, but I don't know what it's going to look like, and I am excited as hell to find out. I'm watching the running backs. For everything I just said, defensive line, Jeffrey Simmons is great. Montez Sweat is great. Defensive line, probably the best unit on the team. Nick Fitzgerald and Keaton Thompson are very good at quarterback. But the steadiest, maybe will challenge for the best unit on this team is senior Ayers Williams and sophomore Kylan Hill, along with Nick Gibson and several others at running back. This running back position is not being talked about a whole lot. It might be as good as there is a running back position in this league. I'm watching these running backs. What will their assignments be? What will their runs be? What will the play calls be? What will their responsibilities be in this offense? That is exciting to watch. I'm watching for a couple of players we've never seen. Brian Cole, a defensive back who sat out last year due to academic eligibility concerns. Chauncey Rivers, the defensive lineman, same reason. They both came from JUCO. They both started at Power 5 teams. Chauncey Rivers started at Georgia. Brian Cole started at Michigan. Now they're at Mississippi State, and they're hungry. They've been sitting for a year. They're ready to play. Marcus Murphy, 4-star athlete from Point City. Where's he going to play? Safety, cornerback? Don't know, don't care. Want to see him play this Saturday. Ready to see him in maroon and white. I'm watching the wide receiver. Stephen Guidry's on campus. Devontae Jason is on campus. We needed wide receivers in the worst way, and we got them. Well, how will we use them this Saturday? How will we throw the ball this Saturday? Exciting to watch as State hits the field for the first time in front of our fan base under these coaches. Big-time things happening in Starkville. Yesterday, I had Joe Moorhead on the show. By the way, I'm fired up today. Have you noticed that? I don't know what's gotten into me. Yesterday on the show, I had Joe Moorhead. He is the coach of Mississippi State, and I asked him a lot of stuff. We talked about recruiting for a little bit. And Mississippi State right now in the top 10 nationally in 24/7 recruiting, got 6 4-stars, including 5 of those 4-stars in the last 10 days. And the momentum is building off the field in recruiting. The momentum is great off the field in recruiting. And I asked Joe Moorhead, hey, did you take it as a challenge to recruit in the South when people said, hey, maybe you can't do it? And he said, I did and I didn't. I take everything as a personal challenge, but really, if you can recruit, it doesn't matter where you are. You can either recruit or you can't. And I think this staff can recruit. I think the subliminal message was, when he said you can either recruit or you can't, the subliminal message to end that sentence was, and we can recruit. This staff, we can go out and recruit. And that's what they've done. This Saturday, another to add to the spring game, I think who visits, who is on the sidelines, which recruits, which committed recruits or non-committed recruits are in Starkville. How many recruits commit? Will it be 3? Will it be 4? Will it be 1? Will it be 0? I don't know. What will happen on the recruiting trail around this spring game? That's another thing to watch. Last night, Jerry and Jones, a 4-star at Northwest ranking, committed to Oklahoma. State had been on him for a while. It was rumored that he was going to commit to State, and he committed to Oklahoma. This is a test. Let's see how this staff handles this. My gut tells me Jerry and Jones will probably eventually be a Mississippi State Bulldog, but it has to happen. The staff has to make it happen. Jerry and Jones and family have to make it happen. it's interesting to watch over the next 8 months until signing day, till the early signing period, what happens with these big-time Mississippi State or big-time Mississippi prospects who State is either leading for or maybe behind on right now. But these 8 months are going to tell a lot of the tale in recruiting. And I feel much better with Charles Huff, Joe Moorhead, Luke Getsy, and this staff compared to whatever is in Gainesville right now. I never felt confident with them recruiting. I feel very confident now, and it's a weird place for a State fan to be. So Hugh Freeze tried to go to Alabama. Alabama tried to hire Hugh Freeze. And the SEC stepped up, did a jump slap kick, and judo chopped that right out of here. They said, nope, not going to happen. You're not hiring Hugh Freeze. Nobody's hiring Hugh Freeze. He helped get them, get Ole Miss on a 2-year postseason ban. The NCAA punishment wasn't what we all thought it would be, or some of us hoped it would be. What am I saying? All of us hoped it would be. But still, he got Ole Miss in a lot of trouble. And he did it by cheating, and he did it by running a dirty program. And once he was out at Ole Miss, he resigned in disgrace, and Alabama tried to hire him. A couple of other teams tried to hire him. And LSU and Missouri were a couple of other teams that inquired about Freeze before the SEC shut them down. It kind of makes me sad the SEC had to shut them down. Like, what are you doing, Alabama? What are you doing, LSU? What are you doing, Missouri, trying to hire this guy? If this guy can't cheat, he can't recruit. If this guy can't cheat, he can't coach. Why am I hearing about Hugh Freeze on April whatever in 2018 to go to these big programs? This guy, if he can't be dirty, he can't be valuable to your team. Excuse me. Got choked up there. I don't want to go into the Freeze stuff because, to me, he shouldn't matter. I don't think Hugh Freeze should ever coach again. I believe in second chances, but he had second, third, fourth, and fifth chances every day he coached at Ole Miss when he wasn't shut down by the NCAA. So I don't believe it in this particular scenario. But good job, SEC, for shutting that down and for keeping that guy on the sidelines where he belonged. 2-minute drill. 2-minute drill. As you know, I ask you 5 questions. I'll involve the Facebook Live audience here. I'll go ahead and ask you number 1. Which player are you most excited about seeing in Mississippi State's spring game? Which player are you most excited about seeing in Mississippi State's spring game? Betty Anderson says Dak Prescott. Somehow that's the right answer. I don't know. Like, I know he's going to be there. He's not playing, obviously, but somehow Dak Prescott, I will accept that as a correct answer. Sean Barker says Stephen Guidry. Kylan Hill says Jay Hammers. Montez Sweat says Amy Hall. The receivers says Rob Chittum. Kylan Hill says Jared Mansour. Hill says Justin Tidwell. Sweat. Devontae Jason says Ray Leno. Jeffrey Simmons says Abby Lauren. Former American Idol contestant. I still don't know if that's true. I didn't look it up, but I believe her. I believe her. Fitz, since the injury, yeah, it's interesting to see what Fitz will do Saturday. I'm curious to see what Fitz does. I don't think he fully plays. And what do we do at quarterback? If we only got Keaton Thompson, a couple of walk-ons, what do we do at quarterback? It's going to be interesting to watch. Kylan Hill, any receiver that steps up, Nick Fitzgerald. Looks like Kylan Hill got the most of it. And I will prepare my everybody pump the brakes on Kylan Hill because Aries Williams is really, really good take for later in the summer because everybody is way up on Kylan Hill, and they should be. But Aries Williams did run for 1,200 yards last year. Let's just remember that. Number 2, we had Joe Moorhead on this show yesterday. It was a big get for us. But if you could have anybody in the world, who would you like to see as a guest on More Cowbell with Brandon Walker? I'm asking you, because I'll try to make it happen. I want to know who you would like to see as a guest on More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. What do you think, Landshark?
Hugh Freeze.
Turn that down immediately. Oh, I would make him cry. You realize that? I would make him cry. Hugh Freeze. Somebody else says Hugh Freeze. Ben Howland, John Cohen. Somebody says Lisa Massey. my big fan on Facebook. A different coach each week. Barrett Salee, absolutely not, says Martin Smith. Joe Moorhead, I just had him yesterday, Junior. Did you not watch it? Vic Schaefer, Nikki Fitz. I think it's possible I could get Nick Fitzgerald on the show. I've had some talks with the Fitzgerald camp. Fly me to Atlanta and buy me lunch, says James Weaver. That's not really the spirit of what we're doing here, but I like your effort. I respect the hustle. Jeffrey Simmons, our best player. Dak Prescott. Funny Maine. He's been on the show before. He was good, though. Your wife, says Ray Leno. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. Number 3. If you had to have the same meal for dinner for the rest of your life, every time you ate dinner for the rest of your life, you had to eat the same meal, what are you choosing? What are you choosing? Oh, look at Turpin Landshark discussing this one. They're talking it out over there. I'm just excited we've got Abby Lauren, former American Idol contestant. That's all I care about. You know what? We might have Abby Lauren on the show one day.
Turpin, I have an answer.
Go ahead.
We say pizza because you can have lots of different types of pizza.
Not bad. Not bad. Let's see what everybody else says. Mexican. Ethan Flory says different flavors of chicken wings. Lance Shane says fried catfish. Jason Brinson says meatloaf and collard greens and cornbread and field peas. Very specific. Spaghetti. Michelle Hendren. Tacos, Dan Glenn. Steak and potatoes with sweet tea, says Willie Harris. I think I might be wanting to hang out with Willie Harris. Chicago deep dish pizza, Eric M. Bounds. Chicken and vegetables, Todd Mullins. Chicken and rice with green something from somebody. The Old Brian hot dogs, Toby Tinton. Fried turkey nuggets, butter beans, mashed potatoes and cornbread, Scotty Hatcher. What's a turkey nugget? Eggs, bacon, and biscuits, turnip greens, black-eyed peas, and cornbread, Tina Louise Cobb. Cheeseburger with a side of spaghetti and fried chicken, says Daniel Martin. That's one hell of a meal. Your life would only last like 3 more weeks. Number 4, lasagna. Lasagna is delicious, Jay McKinney. Lasagna is a good one. Oh, my God, Ray Leno. Filet 10-ounce medium with 4 grilled scallops, a wedge salad, potatoes, veggies, and chocolate molten lava cake. Good Lord, man. Very specific. Number 4, who is your favorite non-Mississippi State athlete of all time? Who is your favorite non-Mississippi State athlete of all time? Landshark, I know all of your favorites are all Mississippi State athletes, so it's very tough for you to answer that question. And I don't want you to turn up your mic right now because you're going to say Eli Manning, and I'm gonna lose it. So, yeah, I'm not going to let you participate here.
Actually going to say Archie Manning, but you're welcome.
I didn't ask for the most overrated player in the history of sports. I asked for your favorite athlete. Grace Thacker Good says Tim Tebow. Alan Lundy says Brett Favre. Bo Jackson from Jay Stubbs. Brett Favre. Tim Tebow again from Timothy Giles. Brett Favre again. Walter Payton and Dale Murphy. Jay Hammers. Greg Maddox. Rob Chittum. Jason Brinson says Peyton Manning or Drew Brees. Shaq from Amy Hall. She's very excited about it. Junior Ray says Pistol Pete Maravich. Herschel Walker from Lynn Rhodes Gilmer. Ozzie Smith from Toby Denton. Michael Jordan from Lance Chain. Reggie White from Darius Gill. Ferris Bell says none, Hail State. Somehow that's correct as well. Johnny Bench, Hugh J. Hubbard, Jerry Rice, Eric M. Bounds, Favre, Eric Wiggins, Chipper Jones, David Brown. I saw Chipper at the gas station the other day. I want y'all to know that. Chipper Jones again, Fenton Sissom, Peyton Manning, Dan Glenn. Shaq lives in Snellville. I don't know where Snellville is. Kane Martin. Kathleen Gallagher, golfer from Greenwood, now at LSU, says Charlie Cooper. That's Dr. Charlie Cooper to you. Secretariat says Abby Lauren. Abby Lauren just continues to be my favorite. I'm sorry. Abby Lauren. Great answer. Jerry Rice, Jordan, Len Bias, Penny Hardaway. Chandra Gordon-Smith says I only watch MSU. That's correct. My answer, my favorite pro athlete, not MSU, my favorite athlete of all time, not MSU, that would be Dale Murphy. Number 3, Atlanta Braves in the 80s. Should be in the Hall of Fame. It's a joke that he's not. Number 5. All right. This might take a while. And it's different for us because we drive in totally different circumstances than everybody on this show. But what is your biggest pet peeve in traffic? What is your biggest pet peeve in traffic? When you're driving, what is the one thing that bothers you more than anything in the world? I have two answers. I have one that bothers me in Atlanta, and I have one that bothers me in Mississippi. Who was that? You look like one of you wanted to answer. You wanted to answer?
I was going to say when people brake check you. I mean,
when they brake check you?
I've got places to go fast.
When you're behind them and they like hit the brakes to
just
see if.
Just get over to the right lane.
Right, just move.
Just move over.
Right.
Yeah.
Betty Anderson says women putting makeup on while driving. Someone that leaves their blinker on when not turning, says Rob Chedham. That's a good one. Cruising in the left lane, David Wallace Laird. Slow traffic in the left lane, Dan Glenn. Someone passing me and then turning. That is bothersome. Lynn Rhodes Gilmer. Those who quickly pass me and then slow down. Grace Thacker, good. Riding in the left lane, going slow. Excuse me, I'll stop there. Folks honking as soon as the traffic light changes. Amy Hall, that's a good one. When cars drive side by side at the same speed, that's a good one. When people stop or slow down to let people off the ramp, yes. Daniel Martin, yes. When you have your blinker on to get in the other lane and a car behind you speeds up to get in front of you instead of letting you over, yes. So I have a couple. In Atlanta, it's slow drivers in the far left lane. I should be able to get in the left lane and go as fast as I want. There's 8 lanes. You could be in any of the other 7 lanes, and you're in the left lane going the speed limit. Get your butt out of the speed limit, out of the lane. Let me go my speed. Patrick, it looks like you have grabbed the mic, and you have something to say.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when you're online to, like, say, get off on an exit.
Right.
And somebody in front of you lets somebody in who's cutting in at the last minute.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I don't like people in front of you letting people in any circumstance, because every person that you let in that you think you're being cute, you're also stiffing somebody behind you. Okay. So you think you're being all graceful and everything, but my Mississippi problem, and my Mississippi, 2 totally different traffic situations, is at a 4-way stop. Okay. At a 4-way stop, if I'm driving up to a 4-way stop and there's somebody already at the 4-way stop in one of the other 3 spots, and they wait until I get there before they make their move, it's a stop sign. I'm going to stop. You don't have to wait for me to get there. All right? You're slowing down traffic. I'm okay. We could talk about this for the rest of the day. For the rest of the day, we could talk about this. People watching accidents that have nothing to do with your show, Eric Inbounds. Hottie toddy bumper sticker, says Bobby Richardson. Knowing a lane is closed but going all the way down to cut in, yes, Chandra Gordon Smith. If they've got the arrow and you know it's closing in half a mile, get over. Get over. Tractor on highway, there's a big one. Tractor on highway is a big one in Mississippi. You guys are laughing like it doesn't. First of all, you went to school in Oxford. You don't get to laugh. Secondly, you went to Maryland. All right. I'm sure turtles on the road are a problem. And I don't know where you went. Boston College? Oh, yeah, Boston College. Like, I'm not going to joke about them. When the idiot will not go down the next exit and turn around, they stop in the middle of an 8-lane highway in Miami to make this exit. Charles Bryan. Never been in Miami. That's a lie. I have been in Miami. All right. We have a 5-way stop in McGee, and it has always caused problems. Yeah, anything more than 4 is just too much. Too much. All right, so I'll drop you off on the podcast. We'll continue to talk about this on the Facebook Live, so don't worry. On the podcast, my name is Brandon Walker. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. You know, Ryan Campbell says tractors have just as much right on the highway. They're just trying to do their work. That's true. I don't have a problem with their right to be on the highway, but, you know, slow drivers have a right to be on the highway too, and I get mad at them. So I'm going to get mad regardless. What did somebody say? Logging trucks in Mississippi. Trucks, period. How much stuff has to be shipped in this country? I come down I-75 every day, and I pass 7,000 trucks. There are so many 18-wheelers in this world. I don't know where all this stuff is going. I petition for Abby Lauren to be on the show. She can sing and continue to give amazing answers. I think one day, here's what I want to do. And Abby, you let me know. One day I want to go off on a rant. I want to get really mad. But if I get mad, it comes off as abrasive. So I want you to sing my rant for me. I want to write my rant out and let you sing it. Hugh Freeze is a cheater. You know, something. I don't know. Something. I won't sing it. I won't sing it. Are you saying I'm not a very good singer? What is that face? Did somebody pass gas in there? Every consumable retail item is delivered by a truck. Brendan Coxtail. Well, I know. Yeah. I know where. Okay. Signal lights that change when no one is waiting. Wade Glass. I also don't like the signal lights that have the eye that change immediately when somebody drives up. Like if I'm going 75 on the highway and I'm going through a light or getting up to a light and then one little car walks up and the signal light changes. All right. And there's 80 of me and there's just one of him. Highway 98 4-lane ends at Alabama-Mississippi line. Folks that hammer it to pass you and then drive 20 miles an hour. Another one of my pet peeves. When a 4-lane highway is ending and there's a mad dash, a sprint to get there to get into the 2-lane, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You could have passed me 2 miles ago if you were in that big of a hurry. Now you're in a big hurry? Candace Glover won my season, says Abby Lauren. Candace Glover. That's American Idol. I used to wish I could sing. Now I wish you could, Brandon. David Brown. Yeah, I'm sick. I got a little throat thing. So that's why I can't sing today. I have a beautiful voice. I have the voice of a songbird. The voice of an angel. No, nothing. So now nobody's wearing the mic. Good stuff. Do you have a YouTube? I have a friend that was on season 13. Oh, they're just talking about American Idol. Apparently, I'm not the star of the show anymore. I think Abby has taken the show away from me. Welcome to More Cowbell with Abby Lawrence, starring Brandon Walker. People picking their nose while stopped at a red light. That one hits close to home. I'm pretty sure I've done that before. What about you, Landshark? How are things going with you?
Things are great.
Things are great.
I think I'm the star of the show.
Oh, I don't agree with that at all. I don't, yeah. Could you be if I were out tomorrow, if I got sick, could you be the guest host?
100%.
100. Would you act like me?
Yes.
You would hate on Ole Miss? Landshark, over here. You would hate on Ole Miss? Can't quite get that answer out of her. Okay. Let's talk state. Abby Lauren, listen, you brought this on yourself. I'm sorry. I'm curious. I mean, I'm thinking about interviewing you right now. Walker, buy my Dan Mullen autograph helmet. Nope, Derek, I'm good. I don't need a Dan Mullen autograph helmet. I'm just fine. When you're changing the flat on the side of the road, people won't go into the left lane or slow down, says Martin Smith. Yeah, that's a good one. Landshark is the last person I would watch More Cowbell with. Yeah, but what if I got sick? What if something happened to me? I mean, God knows nobody wants anything to happen to me because I'm a treasure. But if I broke my ankle coming up the stairs tomorrow, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not taking the stairs. There's an elevator right there. You know, there's people in this room that take the stairs every day, 4 flights up. Is that madness? That is ridiculous. There's an elevator. There's 2 of them right there. No, there's 3 of them right there. I'm at the gas station listening to Brandon Walker and somebody pulled up. When I'm at the gas station listening to Brandon Walker and someone pulls up playing loud music. That's another one. That's not traffic. I guess that's a gas station thing, but why do people leave their radio on when they get gas and go in to pay? Why do they do that? Anybody know the answer to that question? No? Nothing? Turn your radio off. Give Landshark 1 minute to see how she does. Keon DeOne Nettle says, Brandon, no to Landshark, never allow that. So this is very divided. Very divided. When a gully washer comes and washes out the red dirt, Ethan Fleury, I have no idea what you're talking about. I do love the term gully washer. And I do like saying washes like washes. Did anybody in your life really say washes? What's the funny thing your Mississippi relatives say? You know what my people say? My uncle and dad. All right? And I'm very embarrassed to say this. They don't say the word ruin. Nothing ever ruins anything. You know what they do? You know what happens? Something gets ruined. Don't leave that out in the rain. It'll get ruined. Put that food up. It'll ruin. What the hell is that? Has anybody else ever heard that? It's just, I grew up listening to that, and I would go out and hear people say ruin, and I'm like, oh my God, are you from New York City? Am I the only one that has family that says weird stuff like that? Landshark, you're from Atlanta. Your people don't say anything weird.
My grandmother says salmon.
Salmon instead of salmon?
But it's really like salmon.
It's like what? Say it again. Say it again.
Salmon.
All right. Winders instead of window. Kenny Manning says, my grandmother called the sink the zinc. I've never heard that one. Over yonder. Runt. Hashtag runt. Am I the only one? Because I've never talked to anybody else that said run or runt. Am I the only one that dealt with that in my life? Mayonnaise, a lot of people in here today. Italian, mosquitoes, skeeters, Tory Barnes. Drew Newell says runt. Runt. That's embarrassing. Fixing to go. The biggest fight I almost had in my entire life was over the word fixing. Over the phrase fixing to go. I was working at the airport, GTR, back when I was in college. And I was about to board a plane, or about to board passengers on a plane. And the guy said, when's the plane taking off? And I said, we're fixing to board right now. And he looked at me and he said, what does fixing to mean? And I looked at him like he was crazy. Coca-Cola? Terp can't say Britain. That's true, he can't. Landshark, you ever heard Terp try to say Britain? It's awful. Say it. Say it just like you said it yesterday. Britain. Britain. You're talking to a lot of Mississippi people. We all have people that use runt in our life. I get triggered by Starksville, says Sean Barker. John Marston says Landshark sounds hot. The air conditioner's on. I think she's pleasant. Are you good in there? Are you pleasant?
A little warm.
A little warm.
Yeah.
All right. Hawaii. Fixing to go all the time. I say fixing all the time. All the time. Wash the car. I say I've never heard that. Anybody. I don't have anybody in my life that actually says wash. Millennials don't pronounce their T's, says Bonnie Williamson Gable. All right. I think we got a lot of stuff out here today. We accomplished nothing. We talked about very little Mississippi State stuff. But I think we got a lot of stuff out that needed to get out. I don't want to ruin anything, but I feel like we have had a good show here today. Landshark, you feel like we've had a good show? Terp's laughing at the comments, not paying attention to turn the mic up.
Great show.
Great show.
Excellent show. Really, because I was on it today.
Compared to Dog Nation, how was the show?
Great show today.
Fantastic. My husband from Indiana says wash, says Grace Thacker good. Richard Rife says when people say Mississippi instead of Mississippi, I say that just saves time. All right. All right. Good stuff. We'll go ahead and shut it down. Landshark, thank you. Terp, thank you. Everybody for watching, thank you. My name is Brandon Walker. We'll be back tomorrow to BS our way through another show. I don't know how I keep getting paid for this, but you keep showing up. I appreciate it. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been watching more Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country.